All right, this month we read The Reader. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name, so I'm not gonna.
I think it's
Bernhard
Schlink.
Okay.
Wow,
Oh, is that
that's a
your
great
cover?
name.
Look, mine is the movie cover.
Oh, well, this one was cheaper than the one with the movie cover.
Yeah, my mom had this one at home. I never saw the movie. I really want to see it now.
I think I did see the movie, but it was so long ago, I don't remember it.
When did the movie come out?
I don't know. The
Mid
book
90s
is not that old. The book, the book is 1995.
Yeah, so probably.
Oh, it's that old?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
95, yeah.
I thought it seemed so familiar, and I know I didn't read it, but I'm thinking that I did see the movie. Like the book itself felt so familiar to me, but like I knew I didn't read it. I liked it.
So the movie came out in 2008.
Oh wow.
Okay. Okay.
That's a long break in between the book and
Hey, some of these, I mean, there's films that came out in the 90s where the book was written in the 50s.
That's true.
You know, it's really kind of goofy.
Yeah. Well, it just takes the right person to pick it up.
That's right.
You know, just the right person to pick it up.
What was it?
Look at Queen's Gambit.
The Talents of Mr. Ripley was written in 1958.
Right.
And it came out in the 90s.
Right.
When was the Queen's Gambit written?
I think in the 80s.
Really?
Look.
Yeah, but we don't have, back then, we didn't have the mass production of TV and movies that we have today in the 80s. We don't, I mean, we have all these Netflix and all these TV series. We didn't have that back then. So, you know, there were movies definitely, but yeah.
Well, who was in this movie? I may have seen it.
Kate Winslet and Ralph Fiennes.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think
that's how you say his name, Fiennes.
I think so, yeah.
No, I don't remember though in the movie. Did the movie end the same way? I don't remember.
No, well, none of us remember seeing it. So, but let me ask you, when I first read this is the second time I read it. I did not suspect that Hannah was illiterate. I didn't see it coming.
I guess that like around page 12 or so, page 24, I think I wrote, she's illiterate, right?
Yeah, see, you pick up on things really closely because you said
so
that
when
with
it
the
came
Kite
out,
Runner
I was kind
too.
of like, really? We're not supposed to realize that already?
Yeah, because you said that with the Kite Runner too. You picked up that they were brothers, and I had no clue. And so here I didn't.
And I felt like they think I'm a moron.
So when it happened, when he said that she was illiterate, it was almost like a shock to me because it made me think like the first thing I went to was the note. Like I remembered he left her that note that he was going to go get breakfast and she came back all furious in him.
Well, I just felt like, why would anybody ever want somebody to read to them if they weren't illiterate? Like, I can't stand to have anybody read to me. It makes me, it's like
I was thinking about that too, right? It's a real giveaway. Like,
yeah, like why would you ever want that when? I mean, if you're doing this thing where you think it's romantic or whatever, then you go back and forth. You don't have one person always read. Then you know what I mean. So like I was like, as soon as there was mention of being read to, I was like, that's weird. Yeah, she's illiterate.
Well, you could say that it was psychological. I mean, maybe maybe when she was little, somebody or she didn't have somebody read to her, and she felt it comforting to have somebody read to her. I don't know when I realized that she was illiterate. I think it was early. I don't think it was page 24, but
yeah, I didn't realize it till he said Hannah was illiterate. Yeah, like it's pretty late, and because he realizes it at the trial.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hannah could neither read nor write. Page 132. So it took me a while.
It was interesting that she was so embarrassed by it that she wouldn't even
take the job.
She wouldn't even use it as her defense.
Yeah, but especially back then. I mean, like half the people were illiterate back then. What difference does it? You know what I mean? Like it's not like this is 5 days ago. You know what I mean? Where it might be a little bit weird if somebody who seemed pretty well off and whatever put together was illiterate. You would think that was odd, but back in the 40s, in wherever the hell they are.
In Germany, yeah, I think though that she valued education. Like there's the part where he comes to her and he says he's been skipping school to be with her. And she is pissed off. She pretends like she's punching a ticket. Like this is what, like sort of miming what she does all day. And she's like, get back to school. And so she seems to value literature and learning. So I felt like that that would be a reason why maybe she was ashamed, not
Oh,
not
plus
knowing.
she enjoyed it as well. Like, I mean, the stories that he was she liked it. You know, it was
Hmm.
she was open to listening to everything that he was reading, and he was reading like classics and
Yeah.
like
Okay,
more
but
intense.
for me, like the elephant in the room though is like, did nobody else have a problem with the ick factor? I mean, you don't think it's gross that this middle-aged woman is screwing this 15-year-old boy, and like it's not commented on at all. It's just
This
like,
drives me bonkers because if
it's
the
so
roles were reversed, no one would think this is gross.
I would still, I think, oh God, I think, ew, I think it's just gross to even think about any, like, sorry, men are so immature even as adults in general. I just like a 15-year-old boy, really? Ew.
Oh,
Well, I
15.
think it would be worse if the roles were reversed. Absolutely.
It'd be
Yeah, I think
worse.
it was.
I
I
think
would
it
have
would if
been
there was a
too.
15-year-old girl.
15-year-old
Absolutely.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
It's
it would
gross
put
either
them in the same
way.
square.
That was my problem with it, was just that, like, the story was fine and everything, except for like I couldn't get past, like, these are just, there's really only two characters and they're both, like I said, they're just morally reprehensible. You know what I mean? Like, she's a pedophile and we're supposed to not notice that. You know
Yeah,
what I
but she
mean?
was
Like,
starving for. I mean, like she was starving for like
Yeah.
affection, companionship. It didn't
She's
seem like
messed up.
she had anyone.
She's messed up. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, would you say that, like, okay, if there was a man down your street who was, pulling in like 3-year-olds off the street and molesting them, would you say the same thing? Because he's
Well, he
lonely?
didn't. She
That
didn't
doesn't make it okay.
She didn't pull him in. He went back to her. Really. I mean,
Yeah, but
she
he's
helped.
a child and doesn't know any better.
He he was going back. He was attracted to her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and her responsibility as an adult is like,
She
no,
doesn't.
you child.
She's too messed up in the head. Yeah. She's just not her character. She's just
It's,
too messed up.
yeah, no, I
Well,
had
but I
trouble
mean,
getting past that.
it's not like this is the first time that it's happened. Look at all the teachers that have, ended up with like young boys. And how about that teacher who they got married afterwards? She went to jail, and when they got out of jail, she got married, and they had a family together. I
Wait,
mean,
so how is he morally reprehensible?
Well, I just think that he was basically especially sitting at the trial, he claims he loved her,
Yeah.
and yet he's literally says throughout the trial, I feel nothing, I have no emotion. And it's just like, if you can watch someone that you claim you love in this position, knowing not that she didn't do the things, but that she wasn't the ringleader, because she's illiterate, and you're just going to sit there and do nothing about it. That's just disgusting. That's a bad person.
I didn't think about it that way. I thought that he would feel that she would not want him to do that. So he wasn't going to intervene.
He doesn't have to stand up in the courtroom and shout it. He even does go to the judge and still doesn't say anything. Why doesn't he say something to the judge? He could have said something in private, and at least maybe it would have, whether it made a difference or not, at least it would have shown that he gave a crap and that he wasn't just
she didn't want him.
horrible.
She didn't want him to, and I'm sure he knew she didn't want him to, because it was she went to such lengths to keep it secret. Like like she could have spoke up for her own, she could have easily said, I can't read, how could I have signed this, or I didn't even know what it was, and she didn't. Like, knowing that her life, so he must have known that she didn't want to be saved.
Not to be the continuity police, but I worked for a group for a while called Literacy Volunteers, and we went to these training, and then we sat down with an adult that was illiterate, and we spent time with him. And I met with this guy a couple times a week, and he was in his 50s, and he worked for the Department of Transportation. And he didn't know the alphabet, didn't know any vowels, but he had spot memorized so many words that he could read a newspaper. Mm-hmm. He could read, he could read directions. He knew signs. So this person probably wouldn't be completely illiterate. This person would have spot memorized. I mean, I could give him a newspaper. and say, what is, and he would give me the gist of it, because I know this word is butterfly and that word is this and this word is that. So it's actually, and he told me that everyone that he worked with did not know that he couldn't read. I mean, he knew, because you pick up a bottle and see what the label is. So that would be a little continuity type thing, because I don't think you'd be, I don't know what a letter is, I don't know what anything is. I think you'd pick up things.
Right.
Yeah, but not a complete comprehension. Like, I mean, not to read. What was it she was supposed to sign? Was it like orders? Like,
There was some letter, right? Wasn't it a letter? She was
so.
supposed to sign. Like, she said she had written a letter. I forget what was in the letter, but that's what she confessed to.
Yeah.
It would have crucified her, and did sent her to prison all that time.
what do you think about her killing herself at the end?
Yeah, I thought that too. I didn't know if she was so institutionalized over all that time. Or was it 18 years in prison?
Yeah, I think so.
It was a long time. I was so upset about that, and I had a feeling now that I could predict, because as soon as he started getting that apartment ready, I'm like, she's gonna die. I just had a feeling.
That I don't remember. If I did watch the movie, like, everything felt really familiar to me. If I did watch the movie, I don't remember her dying at the end.
I wonder if they changed it. I don't know. I don't remember it either.
They probably wouldn't have changed it.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look on Netflix and see if it's a movie there.
I think I watched it back when I first had Netflix, before it was online and it was just the DVDs you got in the mail, I think I saw it then, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember that when you got them in the mail. Remember that?
Yeah.
And you get so excited when the little red envelope
goes up. I wondered, one of the reigning themes here is about redemption in a way, right? Because she wants to give, or she does give, her money to the daughter of the mother-daughter that escaped from the burning barn. So the idea is is that presented as something that's possible, redemption from a sin?
What do you mean is it possible?
Like the way it's presented in the book, is it seen as something that, because she did pretty horrific things, right? First of all, I guess she had, that's a thing, right, about consent. Was she really consenting to it? Like the girls that would read for her would then go to the gas chambers, right? and then also they let that barn burn because those people would have escaped.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't live that down, right? But she gives that money to that girl. I don't think she even has a name. I don't think the character has a name.
No, I think they just call her the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter. And they call the narrator the kid. She calls him kid, although he doesn't have a name.
I thought he had a name at some point. I can't remember.
Does he? Maybe he did and I missed it.
Michael Berg. It says, I'm reading it on the back cover. It's the only reason I can see.
Oh,
So
look at that. Michael Berg. Look at that.
They must have called him that at some point, but
I think they did, yeah.
I don't remember.
I'm just reading this part again.
But I feel like I was reading along going, oh God, okay, like the first half, it's kind of like, okay, a snapshot of pedophilia, and then the second half, you're like, oh, and she's a Nazi. You're kind of like,
yeah, but I think I didn't take it like that. I think it was like,
I did like it.
I liked it. I didn't take it, and I mean, I know it was pedophilia, but it seemed like that they were both consenting, like, even though he wasn't, like, that they both needed each other. That's what it felt like to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gets no validation at home either from the father.
Right.
So there's that. And there's a lot of kids, right? There's something like 4 or 5 kids
there are
in the
a lot
house.
of kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as her going, like, I think, I mean, here she was, she lived in Germany. She didn't have an education. She couldn't read. And she just basically did what she took what job she could get. And that when she worked for the German military, I don't think she had much choice. Like even when she had the little girls, and she let them read to her, she wasn't going to be able to prevent their death, like regardless. Like, so she at least made it easier for them. Like there was nothing that she could do to really save them.
But I think it's still wrong to molest them. It's bad enough that they're prisoners.
Was she molesting them, or they
I
were
felt like
reading
that was
to her?
implied. Yeah,
No.
I don't know. I thought that was implied.
No, where? Because I don't
I-
remember that. She was
I'd have to-
making them read to her.
Yeah, making them read. I feel like there was another part where it was suggested that there was more.
There's
to
a
it
part
than
he
that.
talks about dreaming of her in like the outfit, like the commanding outfit, and being aroused by that dream. But that's just him. I don't think it's
Yeah,
implied
no.
anywhere that she molested girls.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I just felt she was such a bad person that
Oh my
every
gosh,
suggestion.
I felt so bad for her through the whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
She was put in this situation that she just had no choice. Like she asked the judge herself, "What would you have done?" Like,
Yeah,
and he doesn't
well,
answer her.
Yeah, but
He
that
doesn't
didn't
even-
fly at Nuremberg,
No,
You just
I know.
you-
But it doesn't fly here. She
It
gets put in
doesn't fly.
jail.
You can't just
yeah, but it's like I mean, she was like a nobody.
Yeah.
She really didn't. I mean, she worked for the military because that was a good job for her.
Right.
And
Yes.
like, well, she really didn't have any power. Like, it was either do what they told her to do, or
Maybe
she
even
had
be
no-
killed, right?
what's that? Well, yeah. I mean, she didn't have any power, or she didn't have many alternatives.
I don't know.
What was the report that she wrote? It was some kind of report
Yeah.
on 129.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was a report about what just what happened
Right.
at the barn that day.
And then
is a
they wanted a
barn.
sample of her handwriting, and she, rather than doing that, because she couldn't, she just said, "I admit I wrote the report." Yeah.
Yeah, she just said, "I admit I wrote the report." Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't dislike it at all, but the ick factor was really hard for me to get past, and just I also just can't imagine. I mean, as much of a reader as I am, I can't imagine being so embarrassed by something like that you would put your life on the line.
I think
I also had trouble believing that a Nazi wasn't fairly. I mean, the Nazis were terrible, but they had a fairly good educational system. You know what I mean? Even if it was just teaching you that Hitler's great. I mean, like, okay, but I think it's unusual that she didn't know how to read. And that really wasn't explained.
They didn't really give much of her background, did they? I don't think
No.
Not at all.
Nothing.
Like,
So,
I mean, did she have any?
Yeah.
Did she have any family? I mean, the fact that she couldn't read, leads me to believe that she didn't have somebody like pushing her to learn to read, to go to school. And like she took the job, I think she took the jobs that she took because it was a matter of survival. Like, I mean, she couldn't really do much. So she was she wasn't a train conductor, was she? I mean, she was a train conductor after the war. What did she do before?
We don't know, right?
No, before the war, she was the conductor.
No, she was a conductor when he met her.
Right. Yeah. Wasn't that before the war?
I thought that was after. I thought the whole thing, everything was after the war.
I thought it was after too.
I thought.
Yeah. I thought it was like a couple of years after the war that he met her.
Oh, so she had been
She had already been a Nazi.
Yeah.
And then that's another thing. Like, then there's a part where he says, I was in, like, it's like, if I was not guilty because one cannot be guilty of betraying a criminal, then I was guilty of having loved a criminal. And I was like, you didn't realize she was a criminal back when you were 15 and she was sleeping with you? I'm like, like you.
Of course, no, but like I don't think
he doesn't realize she's a criminal until he finds out that she's a Nazi. It's like it's weird.
Oh, so that happened prior to the conductor thing? I didn't realize that. I thought that was after.
I thought everything happened after the war, except for the flashback, except for the the events of the trial.
Right. She got a job and had a life, and that's when he met her. And
yeah.
Well, because it says that she disappears, right? Like on the back of the book. Then she disappears. So where does she go? That's what I thought happened, that she joined the SS.
No, I don't think so. I think it was before.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Before? So
and
she
I
just
think
leaves
that
him.
I think that she felt so bad about what happened that she was living in an apartment like by herself, got a job as a train conductor, and didn't, was just living. So she didn't have to disclose that she was illiterate, like just getting by. Like it didn't mention.
Yeah, for me, she's like a character like what's her name in Sophie's Choice. She's so riddled with guilt as for what she did during the war, what she thought she did during the war, and her shame at being illiterate, that she's driven to self-destruction, and that's where she ended up.
I agree. I think that
this is really, I was just thinking this book is really, I don't know I can't remember the movie, if I saw the movie or not, but this book is, you have to be a kind of a literary person, I think, to appreciate this book.
You think so?
I think so, because there's very few scenes in it. There's a lot of exposition, description. Laurie, what you said, it's like psychological stuff. So you have to get into that. This is not a Stephen King sort of action. So it's
Well, I don't think that any of the books we've picked are.
What's that?
Yeah.
I don't think any of the books we've picked have been like that. I think we've all been reading literary fiction.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah. Well, you did the Stephen King one, but I didn't read that one. Most of you guys didn't read that one.
Yeah.
Well, so what? You don't think that
I like it. I mean, I like it because I like that kind of book, but I'm just thinking it's kind of forbidding because there's so much thick paragraphs and this guy thinking this through and then philosophizing. I don't know how many books it sold, how many copies, if this was popular or not.
It says #1 national bestseller. Look at that.
There you go. So there's hope,
right
there's
on the
hope
cover.
for us literary writers.
Yeah. Well, literary fiction has a big market. It really,
That's it, really? I mean, the mid.
You know what improved the literary fiction's market? Not that every literary fiction book improved, is Oprah, because she started endorsing literary fiction in her clubs.
Yeah, but if she doesn't endorse it or some other club doesn't endorse
what I'm saying is people get a taste of it, and they start to, certain people, not everybody, but they start to appreciate what good lit is, And this was a movie, so once it's a movie, that'll sell some books.
Right, Everett.
It's a deep book. It's a deep book. What was the book we read earlier in the year? The one about the swamp person. What was it?
The
Crawdads.
Crawdad, yeah. Now that book is I felt very superficial.
Commercial.
Characters are superficial, commercial. This book has, to me, weight to it. This is what I'm talking about. It's more weighty, but I like them better. Like that book, it's cotton candy for the brain. But this book, and that was on whose book club? What's her name? The Crawdad.
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
That was on the bestseller list for a really long time.
I know. It shows you how bad people's taste is. It was so riddled with plot holes.
It's so cliched.
So in here, also, what's interesting about this Schlink guy as an author? It says in the back of the book here, he was a professor of law, which makes sense because sometimes he goes on this tangent about the law. And then also it says that he's a practicing judge. Check this guy's curriculum vitae. And then he's the author of several prize-winning crime novels. That makes me interested because I like his writing. It's clean and simple.
Yeah,
it's too Hemingway-esque for me.
Really? Yeah, you don't like Hemingway.
I
know.
I
It
mean,
was
I hate,
Hemingway.
I love clean and simple writing, but I hate Hemingway. And I feel like this was nudging close to Hemingway.
Yeah.
In fact, like when they even held up Hemingway as one of the great books to read, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Oh, you mean in here? Did that come up in here?
Yeah, I think The Old Man in the Sea came up, and I was like,
Oh.
I think it did. I think it did
Yeah.
too.
And I was
Oh,
like,
I don't remember that.
and I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, here. Oh yes, here.
What page?
I told her about 42. I
Okay.
told her about Homer, Cicero, and Hemingway's story about the old man and his battle with the fish and the sea.
Oh, look at that.
And I wrote, ugh.
Shout outs.
Yeah.
Do you make do you mark your books, Tara? Like
if for book club, if I own it, mostly though, if it's a book that has mistakes in it, I will fix those up.
you correct it.
And if I take it out from the library, I'm very careful to make sure I do correct it, because they need to know. The next person who reads it needs to know that that is incorrect. And
so
there's
you mark up library
every
books?
book. If there's a mistake, I have to fix it. It makes me crazy.
I think it's so interesting the way we feel about these characters, because I feel like I felt such sympathy for both of them. Like, for example, here, I'm going to read a little passage. This is on 64. I gave her, this is Hannah, the silk nightgown. It was aubergine colored with narrow straps that left her shoulders and arms bare. It came down to her ankles. Shone and shimmered. Hannah was delighted. She laughed and beamed. She looked down at herself, turned around, danced a few steps, looked at herself in the mirror, checked her reflection, and danced some more. That too is a picture of Hannah that has stayed with me. And I just love that part. Seeing this woman, she's probably never had anything fancy-ish. And he brought her this nightgown and she's dancing in the nightgown. I could just see, well, of course I could see Kate Winslet doing it because she's so great as an actress. I like those little tidbits about Hannah, like when she's riding the bike with her skirt on the side. And I just got a sense of her like vivacious quality. And I liked that about her. And she stayed with me because of that. And I didn't judge her when she did what she did, because I figured I would probably have done something like that too. Like, let it, if something's burning down and you're like, oh shit, these people they're going to come out of this barn and I'm going to be charged with dealing with them. What would I let happen? I don't know what I would do, but I don't have any illusions that I would be all that admirable in a situation like that.
Well, it's symbolic of all the people that were in the war. There was so many people that were doing things that maybe they were doing them just because, like, that they didn't really have options, or these were like their orders.
Yeah.
But you do have a choice not to join the Nazi military. I mean, like, you could have just been like a baker or something, you could have just lived low in the countryside somewhere and not gone out of your way to,
Well, you could have been,
there's plenty of low-key positions that don't have anything to do with making sure the Jews are in the church that you're going to burn down. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
that sort of thing.
It wasn't that she was making sure the Jews were in the church. I mean, she was in the military, in the German military. Like,
yeah, but you don't have to be part of the Nazi party to be in the German military. That's a choice.
Oh,
you didn't then?
No. You could have just been in German military, and then you choose to join the Nazi party. And that's why afterwards they hunted down the Nazis. They did not persecute if you were a German soldier during that time.
Yeah, but wasn't being a Nazi like an honor to something?
Absolutely.
Like,
there were things that came with it. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, like, you would definitely get more privileges, I would think,
Right.
and like
but after the war, you were definitely going to be tried.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would imagine the closer you were, the more likely you were to be tried. Did they?
Well, I mean, if you were a member of the Nazi party, you were hunted down after the war.
Yeah. Did anybody read The Taster?
Mm-mm.
It's The Taster. It was about it's fiction, but I think that it could very well have been based on truth, that Hitler had people tasting his food. And it tells about a girl who was one of the tasters. And it's at the time, like, you know, she needed a job. And like her family was tied in, her aunt and uncle were tied in. They sent her away, her family sent her away. Like, I forgot if they were in the height of where the war was. They sent, and the aunt and uncle lived in the mountains or whatever. And she took the job as like the taster. It just came, you know, that's what the next step was. It was like, you know, she needed a job. Her aunt and uncle were connected. She got the job. She didn't agree with what Hitler was doing, but it wasn't like she was, again, like somebody inconsequential that,
there was a whole book on that.
Yeah, it was good. It was
Really?
good.
I would think that would cover like 20 pages.
Well, maybe just the way I'm telling it, like, you know.
No, but that's a totally different thing from what Hannah was doing. That was like a desperation thing. Because think about what you're getting into there. You're tasting his food, you die. You know,
Yeah.
people, that's why he has a taster.
Exactly.
But they made it out to be in like an honorable job, like only.
Sacrifice for the Third Reich.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, but you were working. Like you were actually working alongside of Hitler. It was that was like a
Right.
that was an you know, for a large group of people that was an honor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, you know.
Yeah, and you know, Hannah,
Like we're digging a hole here.
I feel like this makes me think of this so much differently now, because that means that after all she did, all that sort of exploitation of those girls and the church, it was a church, not a barn, that that she had that affair with him after that. I don't know why, but I thought, but it makes sense because he doesn't mention the war at all. He just says that his parents were these expats from the war. So yeah, I think about it so much different now, because that means it makes sense what Lori's saying, that she kind of hung low. You know, she went to be a train ticket person. I don't know if she actually was a conductor, because didn't they want to promote her, but she was afraid because she was illiterate, so she skipped town.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that's
so
what
she had,
happened.
I mean, all she was doing was punching tickets. Like she was a ticket collector then.
Yeah.
But I mean, it didn't say anything, did it, about her having any interactions with anybody else?
In other, you mean in the train?
In the story, like, I mean,
Oh, in the
did she
story.
like she didn't have any? I don't think there was any mention of family or friends. Or,
No, she was talking with someone in one of the trains once, and he got on the train to see her, and he saw her talking to someone, and he felt sort of put off by that. But that's it. There was no other interactions. It was almost like she was a ghost. There was no interactions with the neighbors. Nothing like that.
I think she was hiding. I think she was probably embarrassed, maybe because of what happened in the church, and also because she couldn't read.
Right.
Like she didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I think she was just keeping secrets that she had kept for so long that she couldn't reveal them.
Yeah, and like her first act, which this is interesting. The first act, the first time we see her, is she's saving this kid from throwing up all over himself. Like she cleans him off and she sends him home. So it's this sweet moment there where she's made him feel better about himself. And that's why he goes back. The mother gives him the flowers, you know, to take them to her. I think it's interesting because the first glimpse we get of her is not of any kind of monster or mean person. She's not nasty to him. She's not.
She was compassionate.
Yeah.
She was compassionate. She didn't have to do that. Like, you know, she was hiding, like, and she went out of her way to help him. Like, you know, she didn't have to do that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I liked her. I liked her character, and I was sad when she died.
I liked her too. And I know you keep saying the it factor, Tara, and I know but I don't know.
I can't get past it.
I didn't think it seemed, I don't know. It did, like, she wasn't forcing him,
I think because he's writing this, you know, or he's thinking back as an adult talking about it. If this was written by or from the perspective of a 15-year-old boy, you would be grossed out. If he was actually writing the way he was thinking, the way he was feeling, and it would be disgusting.
What about what's the movie, the famous movie, the
with Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah,
The Graduate.
Graduate.
So what's the age difference there? That's
because they're both.
Well, he's an adult. He's 21. I mean, it's still a little bit of an ick factor, but
this is a good point.
He's an adult, you know.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Do you read or heard of? She doesn't write novels. She writes short stories. Mary Gateskill, Gatiskil, 2 L's. She writes about sexual perversion, not in a graphic way, but she does. And she was on a Fresh Air interview, and asked her about, like, aren't these perverse desires these men? Because I think she was referring to men having like perverse desires to see women dress up a certain way or girls dress up a certain way. And Mary Gateskill said, actually, I think the desire is quite common. The problem is when people act on it. And I thought that that was really interesting, because to me, I don't see these desires as perverse. I just don't. I think that it makes perfect sense that he would be attracted to her and she would be attracted to him and that they would have sex. But the idea that it's not socially even legal to do that, there's the rub, you know. But I don't get icked out by stuff like that. I just don't.
She didn't like pursue him, you know. It wasn't as if she was like, you know, like she was a pedophile in the park waiting for, you know, his mother took him on the swing and she was waiting to like lurch at him.
I felt like the opposite. Like where you guys saw her being kind by helping him, I saw her as a spider throwing out a web.
Oh,
I saw her as a predator.
He was sick. He left. Like what? Like
threw up.
I think she saw an opportunity and was like, "Oh, if I help this kid, maybe when he's feeling better." Obviously, she's not going to do anything with the vomiter, but maybe when he's feeling better, he'll come back around. That's
no, I don't.
I don't. Like, so she's waiting for kids to get sick on the sidewalk. So
I think she was a spider sitting there watching and saw.
I didn't get that at all.
I think I tend to see the worst in people.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I didn't get that at all. Did you guys get that?
That's why you haven't had a happy day for a long time.
I'm a realist, though.
I am too. I'm a realist for sure.
We should think about what are we going to read the next time, because it takes us forever.
We're going to read next time.
We should try to read something a little lighter, I think.
Well, I'm reading.
I don't know any light books.
I
just started this book that it's called This Is How It Always Is.
Is it long?
How long is it?
It's not that long. But
it looks long.
It looks long.
I have so many books.
327.
That's not terrible.
Is it only hardcover?
This is a hardcover, yes. You know what it's about? It's about a family whose son wants to be a girl, and it starts at from the time he's very young, like, you know, where he's the fifth child, all boys, and they were trying for the fifth one to be a girl, like desperately wanted the child to be a girl, and they ended up having this boy. And from the time that he's young, he wants to be a girl. He wants to know, when can he wear a dress? Like, can he wear a dress? He goes to the community pool with them, and his grandmother, I think, bought him a bikini because he wanted that. And he goes to the pool dressed in the bikini. He desperately wants to be a girl, and it tells about the families, like how they deal with it, and
what's
the
struggle.
This Is How It Always Is.
This is how it. I'm on Amazon. Lori Frankel.
Right.
It's got 6,521 reviews.
Whoa.
My only worry is that I feel like that's a rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, because you're getting into the whole trans stuff, and I feel like that's
We just went
potentially
into,
ugly.
we just went into,
We've already talked
underage,
about
Pedophilia.
pedophiles.
Oh, it's Reese's book club.
Oh God.
is it?
Uh-huh.
It's death.
I'm only like, I just started it. It's a pretty fast read. I'm on like page 50,
Well,
51.
I don't know if I can come in the next one. For the next one, I don't think I can come because it's the summer. I'm going to be away for a while.
It's gonna be tough in July. See.
Yeah. And we'll schedule it whether we end up doing it or not, we'll see. But I created, it's a running meeting now. So the one, whatever the link is for the next one will be the same link forever.
That's good.
Yeah, and the same for happy hour. It'll be the same link over and over, starting with the next one. So not June, but July.
Oh, so this is editor's pick too. So it actually has some critical acclaim to it.
I'm trying to see, what's the date on this? It was in 2017.
Oh, I have 2008. Oh, the paperback. The paperback is 2018.
So it's fairly, so it's pretty like, it's not true. She said it's not true. There's any similarities are purely coincidence. But I think it's interesting, like, when you have a child, not only like transgender, but when they turn out to be, maybe they turn out to be not necessarily what you expected or what you want. Like,
Right.
What do you do? Like, it's, I remember with my kids, I remember my son played basketball, and he couldn't dribble that ball worth a damn. Like, and it's like he's sitting in the stands, and he's just like, you're saying, come on, please, you just want them to be,
Yeah.
you want them to be like, whatever your picture of, not perfection, but like you want them to be healthy, you want them to be popular, you want them to be smart, like you want them to be.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and what do you do when they're not?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you know what book has stayed with me a long time? It is not an upper at all. The Memory Keeper's Daughter. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh yeah. I read that.
I
read that for a book club. God.
What is it called
That was
again?
a good, The
2000
Memory Keeper's
probably.
Daughter.
What was that about again?
Oh,
It was about these twins are born to
Yeah.
adopt, and one of them has Downs. So he tells nurse presided over the birth to take the one with Downs to a sanitarium. And she decides not to do that. She keeps the baby and raises the baby on her own. And then the child that he does have, I don't know if he has, I think he has a second child after that or something like that. He doesn't tell him at all. And he doesn't even tell his wife. The wife thinks that the baby died.
Right.
So then it just is so well written. It's not one, I don't think it's for us because we've read a lot of heavy stuff. It's literary fiction, it's not a light book, but it always stuck with me. I really enjoyed it. It's just a recommendation I'm giving if you like it.
It was a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, they made a movie out of it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, because I think we read it right before the movie came out. But I think it might have been a made for TV movie. I don't think it was like a movie. I think it was like a, Lifetime movie or something like that.
Wow.
But, yeah.
And was there a I don't know, a housekeeper or somebody else who knew about the existence of the child?
Just the woman who had her, the nurse. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But it's been probably 20 years since I read it. So
yeah, I think I saw the movie on that one.
Yeah. All right, so are we going to read the thing with the kid who wants to be a girl, or is it light? Is it like?
Yeah, well, it is kind of light because she's like she's a doctor. The main character is a doctor, and her husband is he wants to be a writer. Actually, the husband is and he kind of is like a stay-at-home dad while he's writing his books, and it tells about like how they met and how they had two boys and decided to go for the third child and ended up having twin boys, for number 3 and number 4. And then they said that they wanted, they were going to go for 5. They were still trying for that girl. It is funny. It is funny.
Is this modern though? Like, is this happening? Like, is this set in the modern day? Because I mean, like, wouldn't you do some sort of like in vitro at that point to try to make, some sort of gene, whatever, to make sure it's a girl by this point? It's not like.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's not.
If you're really that upset about it, if you're really that.
No, she said that she read, I mean, I can't remember what there was like old wives' tales or whatever, like, that if you did you put something under the bed or whatever, there was things that she did. She really wanted
That's
a girl.
what I'm saying. Is it like from the 50s, like, or is it set in like a different time?
No, I think it's like fairly current, but I mean,
they sound awfully naive about how reproduction works.
I don't know anybody who's predetermined the sex of their baby.
I don't know anybody personally, but I've heard of it being done. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it can't be readily available.
If you got the money, it is.
Well, I don't know.
But okay, no, but I mean, I'm fine with that if everybody else is fine with that. But unless there's anybody else who's got something.
Can't think of anything right now.
I think it'd be room for discussion. I mean, I think
that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, well, this week was pedophiles. Next time is
next time.
I can't believe that came up. I was so surprised that I didn't think that would come up.
What, pedophile?
Yeah, I didn't see that at all in there.
Oh my God, I feel like that's the center of the book to me, is that she's a pedophile and he doesn't realize that's bad. It's no, for me that was, I mean, I didn't dislike it. It was just weird. I thought it was weird that it wasn't brought up more.
Right.
Because to me, because I'm just thinking like of the back, even when I was 15, the boys were skeevy. They like, it would have been gross. But it's like looking at the kids who are 15 now. Oh my God, they're like 7. You know what I mean? Like they're such children. So when I was 37 or whatever she is, I certainly wouldn't have been attracted to a 15-year-old boy. It would have been like,
yeah, but she was attracted to him because.
Because she's a pedophile.
That's what she secluded herself, and that's what became available. It wasn't like, I don't think she.
We don't really know that. We only know what he reports. We don't know that she wasn't out, out at the whatever they had at the bar in Germany. We don't know that she didn't have a full social life. We don't know that. It's just not mentioned. They're the only 2 characters really in the book, so it's kind of like, for all we know, it's
but I think
a ruse that she's this isolated. We don't really know.
Well, don't you think that they would have mentioned?
Well, wouldn't you think that they'd mention that they know she's a pedophile? I mean, wouldn't you think? It's just like, I don't know.
I don't think she was a bad person. I think she did some things that were bad, but I don't think she was a bad person. I think she was just put into circumstances and she just did the best she could.
Yeah. I agree.
And I still think too, like, I think living with the secret is painful.
Yeah.
And she definitely was living with the secret. I mean, she was living with 2 secrets. One, she was living that she couldn't read, and that, that she probably didn't consider herself very smart. And 2, about what happened in the church.
Right.
In Germany. That's why I think that she was like, she didn't want to know people, like, because she was afraid people were going to find out who she was. Here's another book. Did you ever read Transistor Radio? It's a really old one
Yeah,
by Chris Bohalian.
yeah,
Yeah, that one was also like with transgender. I thought
yeah,
at the time when that came out, I mean, transgender was like not common. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I read that years and years ago.
yeah, so did
I'm
I.
I'm reading his new one now.
What's his new one?
It's a historical one. It's Hour of the Witch. It's set 30 years before the Salem witch trials.
Oh, wow.
And it's usually I don't like his historical stuff that much, but this one I'm flying through.
It's good?
Yeah, well, I like it. It's like this woman living in Boston in 1662, and her husband is like just a horrible person. He beats her and whatever. And it's just her trying, like, she tries to divorce him and everything. And but back then that was like a whole big thing. And it's like he keeps like hinting at like if she keeps it up, people are gonna think she's a witch and everything. And like that's not good back then. So it's just the whole big thing, her trying to get away from the abusive husband.
And what is like, did that just come out?
Yeah, it just came out. I have the book is over there, but here's the jacket.
Hour of the Witch. That looks good.
You like historical stuff. Like I started reading it on Tuesday, and you can see I have only this much left to go.
What else? He wrote Midwives. Did you ever read I like Chris Bo.
I have it signed by him.
You do?
What did she say?
I have it signed by him.
Wow, where'd you get that from?
He did a keynote at a writers conference at Montgomery County College in Pennsylvania back in like 2005. And I happened to have, so he signed my copy.
Cool.
Wow. I like him.
Yeah, I like him too. Well, they
he
didn't
also
like him.
he wrote Buffalo Soldier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I read
Yeah, I read everything. I've read everything he's written. Although we read Night Strangers in the fall, and everybody else, I was the only one who liked it.
I haven't read anything by him since probably the last one was Buffalo Soldier.
That's pretty old, too.
I thought I really thought like Transistor Radio, that happened right before when that was written, and because my sister-in-law was like a principal in a school, and that same scenario shortly thereafter happened, and she was saying like it was really difficult, it was very difficult to deal with from administrative point of view.
You know what I'd love to read sometime if you guys are interested is some Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh,
Like Kurt Vonnegut?
oh,
I've
no.
read it for a while.
I read Slaughterhouse-Five, and I read Harrison Bergeron, which was a short story. All I could do. I just couldn't get into it. I heard him speak.
Slaughterhouse-Five, but
Did you?
Yeah.
He was a
Did
genius.
Animal Farm, right?
No.
No, that's Orwell.
Who was it?
Orwell.
What else did Kurt Vonnegut write?
I only know
Cat's
Slaughterhouse-Five.
Cradle, Breakfast of
Yeah, I haven't read
Champions.
that either.
I haven't read it. I'm not interested at all.
Slaughterhouse-Five is weird.
It's weird.
I didn't like it.
Bluebeard is great. Slaughterhouse-Five is weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, I read
There were
it in,
pieces
like,
of it I
high
liked,
school.
but
No.
What I like about Vonnegut is he created this character called Trout that is in like several of his novels. And Trout is this like homeless guy that writes this stuff. And then he writes it, he types it up, he walks it to the garbage can as if he's presenting it to an editor, and he throws it away. And then he goes and writes something else. And when I first saw that character in Vonnegut, I'm going, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And now I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
right. As we age,
Yeah,
yes.
no, I
Throw
get
that
it.
shit out.
I've done it. It's as good as I can make it. And now I put it down, and now I go do another one.
Right.
All right, so
All
what are we
right,
gonna read?
guys.
What are we gonna read next time? Do you want to think about it?
I'm taking a break for July.
All right, Everett, what's your vote?
Not to be a total jerk, but I wouldn't read any of those that were mentioned.
Well, what would you read? Can't you?
No, because I did that
Although,
once and
yeah.
then I got crucified. So you just
Yeah.
tell me what.
Well,
I
make it
I've
short. Like
suggested
that's
yeah.
the good thing. If you can make it short. I mean, I'm not coming, but for July I won't. But like, yeah, because that was always the thing. Sometimes they're so long. I've had that problem when I was in a book club. I picked ones that were long, and people got annoyed at me. So
Didn't we do, wasn't we do 11 13 with the Stephen King one? Wasn't that one like 800 pages?
yeah.
But and nobody actually, like, it was only me, Everett, and Lauren, I think, were the only ones who showed up for that. Oh no, did you come to that one? I don't remember.
I'm sorry, which one is this now?
Back when we did Stephen King, 11/22/63.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
And I couldn't read it.
No. It's just too much.
Not because it was long. I just didn't like the story. But anyway, all right. So Lori, do you want to do yours because it's, and then we'll try again next month and see. All right. So what is it called? This I wrote it, but I can't read
This is
it.
How It Always Is.
Okay.
A weird title.
It's one of those ones that it's hard to remember. Like for some, like there's
Right.
That's a tough
you guys
one.
ever anybody read Wally Lamb?
Yes.
Yeah.
I Know This Much Is True. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that book.
Did
All
it?
right,
Yeah.
guys,
See,
I
I
gotta
thought that
go.
one was.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, we're running long too.
Yeah, I gotta go. I got a writers group at 7:30, so I gotta go.
Ooh.
Yeah, I gotta go
That's-
too. All right.
It's a long
All right,
night.
so
What's
I'll
the
post-
date?
I think it's June or July 8th, but I'll post it on Facebook too.
Okay.
All right, see y'all.
All right. Bye.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
bye.
Bye.